Hello, this is Oleg with OpenBOM, and today I'm going to give you a quick step-by-step introduction about OpenBOM properties. So first of all, what is OpenBOM properties? The concept of properties in OpenBOM, it's very similar to columns in Excel spreadsheet. So think about OpenBOM bill of materials. You see columns, and those columns have a name. So each name represents some information, and you can organize it in OpenBOM in any way you want. So you can freely select a property, and you can add additional property to bill of materials or part catalog. So when you want to add property, the add property dialog box shows up. And it can bring list of possible properties that already available in the system, and properties that you can create for your own purposes. So the simplest way to use it is just to start typing. For example, I want to add a property for supplier name. I start type the name of the property, and I can discover already existing properties in the system. There are two types of properties in OpenBOM. One is called public property, and you can see this small earth symbol next to public property. A public property means that property is created by somebody and can be used by anyone who is using OpenBOM. It doesn't mean that the information will be available to anyone. It only means that the name can be shared. OpenBOM philosophy is to provide common name base for properties, and if somebody already created a property called supplier name, there is a good reason that you would like to use this property for your bill of materials. And if so, you can select this property. You see that the property is currently selected, and by adding this property can be added to the bill of materials. If you want to learn about already existing properties, you can also go to this menu called Property Info, and you will get a basic information about what is this property, when it was created, if it's public property, or if this is a private property. Now, what if you don't want to use or create public properties? You can be doing it completely differently. So again, you go into the menu to add property, and you say that I do not want to include public properties, and I can create a property of manufacturing part number. So I do not want to create public property, and I want this property to be text, and I need to select a private property table. So this is the place where private properties will be saved in your account, and in a minute I will show you how to create one, but I already have one. It's called private test, and I added this property, and this property is added to the bill of materials. So the difference between public property, like you see this one, and the difference between private property, as you might see in this property, is that the private property name is not available to anyone, and it's only available to you and to the team of people that you sharing information with them. Now let me jump back to OpenBOM dashboard to show you where the information about properties is residing. So in the administration section on the left, you see a section for property tables. And in this section, you can see, first of all, always you can see the public folder. So public is a table that holds all public properties available in the system. So if it's created by you, if it's created by anybody else, you can always go and find properties in the system, and by searching, filtering, you can see what are the properties in the system. Now, if you would like to define a property in a particular private table, I can create a separate table, like I created property private test table, and you can see the manufacturing part number that we created is here. And by defining this property table, I can have a placeholder where information about properties that I can use in my bill of materials and part catalogs will be saved. Now, the next thing that I want to cover about properties is related to the property types. Unlike simple names of columns in Excel, OpenBOM is the database-driven system, and that's why properties have specific types. So if I will be adding property now to the system, you can see that our properties might have a different type, and if I will try to come with the name, I can see that I have a selection of choices. So OpenBOM has 7 different property types: number, text, list, multi-selection, list, reference, image, and checkbox. Some of them are obvious, like number, text, and list, and multi-selection list. Let me focus on few properties that might be specific for OpenBOM, and one of them is a reference. Let me think about an option that I would like to create a property to hold a reference to an external part catalog. So let me define this property, and I would like to create a private property which will be called catalog reference. And I will define this property as a reference and a private test table. So I'm adding this reference property and this reference property is added. Also, something that you might expect for OpenBOM to do is to manage order of properties in the bill of materials, and I can bring a property to a different location. So in such case, catalog reference will be located here. Now, a catalog reference is a link to a particular place online or any other location, storage locations. To edit this property, you can use edit reference property command. And by editing reference property command, you see a special dialog that will allow you to bring 2 values. The first is display value, and the second is URL to external reference location. Also, this property can hold links to cloud storages, and out of the box, OpenBOM is integrated with Google Drive, Dropbox, Microsoft OneDrive, and Box. Custom integration with cloud storages is available as well. And for the moment, let me focus on online reference catalog. So let me just create a new tab and go to McMaster and Car Catalog, and let me select a particular catalog part. So this catalog part is the one that I would like to include as a reference in my reference property. So that would be my link. I just copy pasted to this link location, and I can use this number as a display value. So that's the information that I put in the system, and when I update the value, what you can see is that system is using this property as a URL or as a link, and you're pretty much familiar with this. And when you click on this, you will be getting outside and going exactly to the place that stored. Very useful. You can use it in many places, and that was a reference property. Another property, special type of property that I want to demonstrate you is a checkbox property. So let me add another property here, and I would like include a property that will be status, and the type will be checkbox. So checkbox is the very simple type, kind of thinking about true or false, but presented in a visual form as a checkbox. So I added this property, and you can see that this property is presented as a checkbox. Very useful in the situations when you need somebody to accept, approve, or do any other things related to the work in the bill of materials. The last property, the last special property type that I would like to show today is image property. Very straightforward, but I would like to show it because it brings a lot of value to the bill of material management. And let me create a property for preview, and the preview will have image, and I will create this property as a private in the same private property table, and I will add the preview image. Because this property is image, as you can see, I can edit this property using special command called edit image property. And the edit image property allows you to select image from the disk, and I can, for example, select image of the pump and load it in this property, and from that moment we will get a very nice visual representation of the property that can be resized. The size limit is 1 megabyte of image, and the OpenBOM can use unlimited number of those images in the BOM. So to summarize my introduction of properties, we covered that the properties in OpenBOM can be public or private. Properties are very similar to columns in Excel, can be added, moved, or removed and use different location. And properties can have different types, like list number text, and some special properties, as we learned, the image reference property and checkbox. So that was Oleg with OpenBOM and my step-by-step review of how to use and add properties in your bill of materials and part catalogs. Thank you very much, and talk soon.